zoom out. I'm going to say, you'll watch me, if we're working in the computer, I'll say, well, back away from it. And sometimes I see people, I'll say, back away from it, and they actually move their position of their chair back. That's not what I mean. What I mean here is to hit Command. That's the little thing down at the bottom. It says Command, and then it's got like a four-sided infinity symbol. Hit Command and minus, and you will back away. This white page in the middle is my artboard. This area here is my desktop. It's like literally like I'm working at a desk, and I can set stuff over to the side. It's part of my document, but if I ever were to print this right now, this would be a blank page. So I find that kind of thinking to be useful, that you're at like a drawing table somewhere, and you've got your stuff that you're working with, and you can rearrange it and arrange it to make it visible or not. I think that's an important idea here. Okay, now I've been working this, and you were unaware of it, but we've been doing all of this work that we're doing on a layer. I'm going to open up the layers palette. Oh, I've got a meeting in a half an hour. Nobody wants meetings. Anyway, look here. I'll put the Pathfinder back in there. See how I take these menus in and out. I can click and drag to pull it out, or I can click and drag to put it back in, and rearrange them as needed. Oh, everybody wants to say something to me. Okay. So we've been working on layer 1, and what this implies is that we could be working on layer 2. So I want us to do that right now. To work on layer 2, what I want you to do is notice that there are icons at the bottom of my palette. Oh, by the way, let's say that this palette is missing. Here, I'll get rid of it. So it's, oh no, I opened up the program and none of these palettes were out. What do I do? Where do I go? Well, palettes are windows. So I go up to the top, the menu up here. We haven't been dealing with this much yet. So far we've been looking at the toolbar, and we've been looking at some palettes that were already open when I opened up my software. By the way, it reflects who was working in here. This is my office. It's set up the way I like it. Sometimes I work with other stuff and I add palettes. The last time I saved and worked, it would leave those palettes out. So when you open up Adobe Illustrator, you may see palettes sitting out that you have no idea what they are. If you don't know what they are, you don't want to use them, just close them. You don't need them. But I do need window. I do need the layers palette. So I go to window, and there's a whole long list of things here. They're alphabetical. About halfway down is the layers palette. I opened that thing. Since the last time I used it, I buddied it up with Pathfinder. It opened both of them. That's fine. I like that. So in the layers palette, I've got icons that I can use. And remember this thing about if you float your cursor over top, you see the function. It gives you a label to tell you what it's going to do if you ask. So on this one, all I really want to do is create a new layer. Excellent, did that. Okay. And I'm going to name this layer. I'm going to call it frame. Okay, because we're going to create a frame on this layer. Now I could call it matte, like when you matte a drawing, that cardboard insert that goes inside a frame behind glass. But I'm going to call it frame. And then we're going to proceed to use the rectangle tool and the Pathfinder to create a frame. Now, for a frame to work and hide the artwork that I don't want you to see, it has to be big enough. My paper here is 8.5 by 11. So I'm going to make a 14 by 17 mat or frame on top of it. I'm going to do this the easiest way that you can possibly do it. Making a straight and true rectangle. Some of you guys are going to go, oh my gosh, this is so much easier. In Adobe Illustrator, all you have to do is find the rectangle tool. Guess what? Happy day, it looks like a rectangle. So if I click on it, I get that rectangle tool. Oh, by the way, I want you to see this, and you're not going to use it this time, but when you hold that down, I'm clicking and holding down with the left button or with your regular button on the Mac, you get different other fun things that you could use. The ellipse tool, the star tool, the polygon, you get the idea. In this case, I only want to use the rectangle tool. Now, I'll show you how to make a rectangle in here. You click on that tool, and you can click and drag to make a rectangle. That's one way to make a rectangle. It's a fine way to make a rectangle. Let's say that I want it to be a square. If I hold down Shift, it makes an actual square. If I want to make it grow out from the center, if I hold down Option and Shift, it will grow out from the center. So it's all useful stuff, right? But for today's work, I want to make it be 14 inches by 17 inches exactly. So what I do is I click on the tool, got the tool, and now I just click and space. When I do that, boy, that was a good shot, Jeff. That was 14 by 14, 14.75. I'm going to type in 14 for the width and 17 for the height. Hit OK or Enter on your keyboard. Return or Enter on your keyboard. And it's actually pretty good. I want to show you that up on the top here, there's a sub menu bar that you have up here, like a shelf. And there's a section of this that's used for aligning. I can align things to one side or the other, or I can center them on the page. Okay, right now the function is set up to align it to the artboard, which I recommend. And I can center it side to side, and I can center it up and down. That's an extremely useful function. I don't want my mat to be black in this, okay? So I'm going to go over here, right down on the bottom of the toolbar where my mouse is moving around. I'm trying to get your attention way over on the left, down here. There are all the ways that you can change the color of things. So for instance, there's the fill. Right now it's got a black fill. If I click on that, or excuse me, double click, I can change its color to all kinds of things. All right. There's also the stroke. Right now, it's got a stroke with a red line on it, meaning it has no stroke. It's just a shape. I want it to be black stroke with a white fill. Right up here, there's a little default fill and stroke. There. Now, if the default is white with black stroke, why were my shapes coming out black? I'll tell you why. It's because the last thing I was holding in my hands were these black pieces of type. And because they have a black fill and no stroke, the next thing I made in Illustrator also had a black fill and no stroke. So that's how that works. The last thing you touched will affect the color of the next thing that you make. All right, so now I've got my big piece. Let's imagine that this is a piece of mat board, cut board, or poster board that I'm going to cut. I'm going to cut a hole in the middle that's 6 inches by 6 inches. So to do that, I need a 6-inch by 6-inch square. I'm going to get my rectangle tool again. By the way, the quick key for that is M. Sometimes I remember it, sometimes I don't. You know, the other thing, let me see if I remember this. Yeah, the other thing I do, oh my gosh, where did everything go? All the menus, all the palettes, everything went away. You know what I did? I hit Tab. If I hit Tab, I can toggle back and forth between having absolutely no menus in front of me. There's a time when that you can do that. And that's if you know your quick keys or you know exactly what you're doing, you just want to zoom in on the artwork. And then if you need the menus and stuff like that back, you hit Tab again, you get them all back again. Very useful idea. All right, I've got the rectangle tool in my hand. I want to make a 6-inch by 6-inch square. I just click. And look, it saved the last thing I did, 14 by 17. I don't want that. I'm going to get 6 by 6. Say OK. And then I want to center it. Remember how I did that? I went up here and used these little menu icons on the top. Horizontal align center and vertical align center. Excellent. Now it's all centered. Look, I know I want this white on white, white with black lines, but just to show you what's happening, I want to change the color of this stuff just for the moment, okay? Please excuse the crazy color I'm about to, that was the outline. The last thing you have selected is what it's going to change. So right now it's got the stroke selected. I want to change the fill. I need to look down here. I need to click on the fill in the corner in order to activate it, and then I can change its color. Ooh, that's lurid. Let me see. Oh, there, that's much nicer. And then I'm going to change the color of this one too, to something, right? So I've got that and that. Gee, you know, I'm going to copy one of these pieces of type and put it in behind all of this. Watch, I will copy it by holding down Option, moving it, and then if I hit E, right? If I hit E, I get that transform tool. Hold down Shift. Listen, don't squish the type. Do not squish the type. You're going to use this object the way it was designed. It's beautiful design. Just hold down Shift to constrain it. That keeps the shape the same size. I'm going to make it real big. And then I'm going to move it in behind here. Notice what happens. It disappears. That's because the frame is on one layer. Oh my gosh, he lied. I do this all the time. I forgot to lock the type layer. And then when I went to click and create things, I ended up activating everything on layer 1. So I've got a little bit of a problem. Everything is on layer 1. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to move the rectangles up onto the frame layer. Correct my mistake. It's great for you guys to see me make mistakes. You know why? Because people do it all the time. You're not going to break anything in here. You can't even tear the paper, really. All right. So I'm going to copy this stuff to the clipboard, and I'm going to cut it and delete it by holding down Command. That's that little infinity symbol, Command and X. And now, oh, now you can see my W, right? Then I'm going to lock layer 1. This is a good lesson here. This is how you can lock layers. And you've been noticing I've been turning off the visibility of these layers with that little eye symbol there. So you got a padlock and an eye. Right now we can see layer 1, but we can't select anything on it. It's locked. If I click around, right now I'm clicking and dragging, and it won't let me grab anything. Okay, so that's a good thing. If I want to move something or do anything to it, I have to unlock the layer, and then I can move the objects around. Okay, so that much is done. I'm going to lock this again, and I'm going to go up to Frame. I want to paste it exactly where it was because it was nice and centered. You know, you may know Command C is copy, right? If you're on a Windows machine, it's Control C, right? Control C or Command C is copy. Paste is Command V, or on a Windows machine, it's Control C, but Command C is copy, Command V is paste. But I want to paste it in front of right where it was. And so easy to remember, it's front. The word front starts with F. Command F, paste it. Now, if you look at my layers palette, you can see that that green and orange craziness is up there on the frame layer. Okay, now I've got my first layer is safely locked. I can make it invisible. I can turn it on. But I want to cut a hole in the middle of this green business to create a nice frame. Okay, so here's what I do. I'm going to show you how to use the Pathfinder palette. And the Pathfinder palette has pictures of all kinds of things that it does. Okay, and if you look at the pictures carefully, you probably can figure out what's going to happen with what you do. All right, I'm going to be using the minus front function. To do this, what I need to do is select two things. I need to select the thing that's in front and the thing that's behind. Right now, this orange square is floating on top of this green rectangle. I can select them by clicking on the orange one and then holding down Shift and clicking on the green one. Now I have two of them, right? The other way I can select things in Illustrator is by just clicking, look, watch my arrow, clicking and dragging past even a portion of things will select them, okay? So right now, I like that way of selecting things. I clicked and dragged past them, and it's the same as holding down Shift and selecting multiple objects. Now, I've got different functions here. I could unite them. That would weld the orange one on top of the green one. I don't think I want that. What I want to do is use this second function right here, minus front. By the way, this is in the instructions for the assignment. And if I click on that button, what it does is it cut a hole in my green rectangle. That makes the frame that I want. Now, I don't like the green anymore. I'm going to go back to that default color set there. The white, notice the white and with a black outline. When you select things, it'll highlight the color depending on the layer that you're on. Also, look at this now. Now I can start designing. Okay, so somewhere along